Hello and welcome to episode 4 of our Timberborn Update 7 Iron Teeth Project 1K playthrough, cycle 6 to 8, 9.5 days left in drought. Let's hit pause. We got a lot to discuss. Kind of like last episode, but different stuff. We managed to successfully divert the bad tide that happened. Nothing died as a result of anything down here getting bad water in it. But now we find ourselves with a different set of problems. And you might be saying, okay, well, you have 159 food, which isn't great, but it is enough to feed 30 beavers for about 4 days, 4.5 days. And you got 432 water, so that seems to be fine. What's the problem? Okay, well, keep in mind, we're in a drought, which means the water wheels cannot be turning. So we have to turn to the large power wheel, which I was very kindly reminded in our playthroughs is called the Beard Wheel, which stands for Beaver Exercise and Rotary Device. And it has mercifully had its recipe reduced from 100 logs to 50, so it's a lot more easy for us to construct. But that's still going to take a little bit of time to get some logs in place, and then that's going to be running all of these things here. Which, smelter, we haven't actually made any metal blocks yet, and we're going to want those so we can utilize sluices. We have the science to unlock those, so not a big deal. If we want to have a chance of actually diverting bad tides automatically and maybe storing a little bit of water up here, we're going to want to get sluices unlocked and built here. I'm not going to do it yet because we have 10 days left in the drought, and then we have a temperate cycle, which is going to be between 5 and 8 days. So we have at least 15 days before that is going to be a potential problem. If we get another drought, don't need to worry about it. If it's a bad tide, we absolutely need to worry about it. But what's going to be a more pressing issue, I think, is long-term viability of food and water down here, because this isn't a lot of space in which to store water. So if we, don't have any backup... Oh, I need to keep this paused. I don't know why I unpaused it. We need to have more water storage, which is going to require wood, which we don't have. So you think about the end goal, and then you work back to the different problems you have to solve in order to start progressing toward it. Gotta have wood. How do we get wood? Well, we're growing it here. We also have the option to plant mangroves in the water here, which a couple of you guys have brought up. I think this forester is going to have the range maybe to reach about here. So all of this plantable as mangroves, and of course they can spread if you unmark them for planting just by themselves. But we're going to have to put in a staircase there, which, guess what? Requires wood that we don't have. So problem number 1 is how to get wood. Well, we have oak trees up here we can cut down. We've got some logs left over, so considering that we have 30 planks, I'm going to go ahead and have them put in... I guess this is fine to go here. 1 stairs, and then another stairs, get those hooked up. So this, at the very least, can harvest some more trees and give us a decent amount of extra wood there. There's not really any other wood here that can be cut down except the ones that are growing up, and that's fine. I do have some over here we can get to if we build another staircase and then another staircase after that. But that is it on the entire map. Well, this also, but that's going to require another staircase. So we have logs here that we can pick up, but they aren't accessible because we built the levee here, so we get rid of that. Then all of a sudden, now we have 9 logs here, we got 18 logs here, we got 18 logs here. That's going to solve a lot of our problems so long as we don't have them finish the beard wheel first. If we pause the industrial lumber mill, we get 13 logs. We have 30 planks here, and then we also have planks in the gear workshop. I was trying to build more water storage, but I think for the sake of what we're trying to do now, we can pause both of the... It's not like they're going to be having anything going on anyway, but we can pause both of those. We can get some materials out, build the staircases, get those harvested, ready to go, and we really, really need to try and get a head start on storing additional food and storing additional water. Water right now, we still have a capacity for another 200, and it's going to be what it is. This is going to run out. It's going to dry out at some point during this drought. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause this water pump. 433 water will get us most of the way through. Not the entire way through, but most of the way through. And hopefully this won't evaporate, because as long as we have water in here, then the cassavas and the kohlrabis and everything else are still going to be viable, and that's really important. If we don't have continuous crop generation and harvesting, then we have absolutely no hope of ever surviving. So, to that end, I am also going to be unplanting... That's the wrong button. I'm going to be unplanting some of these guys, and so on and so forth. It's just one of those things that's got to happen. We need to have access to additional space over here so we can start building a reservoir. I don't know if we're going to be able to make that happen that quickly, but food security and long-term food security and water security are very, very, very important. And you can't plan around something that you haven't even started yet when you're this close to being endangered. Like, it might not seem like it, but we are definitely really, really, really close to danger. So, all of that being said, I think we are in a decent shape now to go ahead and unpause and start reallocating our other beaver resources. You never want to have these guys out of the farms. So I'm going to prioritize these before it becomes a problem later, and we're going to find somewhere else to build a third farmhouse, which you may have noticed me unplanting here. This is where I want to put the third farmhouse, because it's still going to be pretty centrally located to most of this stuff, critical mass, etc. That's what we have to work with. We also need to pause construction of the beard wheel so we can actually have the stairs put in place before it becomes an issue for anything else. They can grab the rest of these. Just one of those things we really, really, really need to be on top of. We also are at the maximum capacity of our current housing. We want to keep ahead of that, but not at the expense of everything else. The other thing to consider, breeding pods. It may be time to think, depending on how poorly this goes, it may be time to think about having an emergency breeding pod with a beaver that is almost done brewing, and just keep it paused in the event that we have a mass casualty event. In the event we have a mass casualty event, we can unpause the breeding pod and we have at least one child beaver that could rise from the ashes of our decimated society and hopefully try to rebuild stuff. We're not quite in that stage of potential danger yet, but want to keep that available as an option just so we're all aware of what's going on. We have 3 extra beavers right now, except we really don't, because we have this fermenter and this fermenter that need to have power, and we have the beard wheel that will be producing power. So in theory, we have exactly enough beavers. We just have to actually, you know, get a little bit better at what we're trying to be doing here. I'm going to go ahead and pause this scavenger flag here. You can take this lumberjack flag out entirely. There's no trees left at all. I'm going to unpause the gatherer flag so we can start gathering these berries. These might die into the... Oh, some of these are definitely going to die in this drought. We want to make sure we get all the berries out of here that we possibly can before it's too late. Because once they're gone, they're not coming back until we can plant more of them, and they take 24 days from first planting to first harvest of berries. So, again, future planning, very, 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 very important. That's basically the size of where we are now. These kohlrabis are not going to be grown for another couple days, but I'm not going to demolish them. Obviously, we need to make sure we have as much food as we can. Storage space allocated. We have 1 for fermented cassavas, 1 for raw cassavas, and 1 for berries. 200 each. That's fine for right now, but we're going to need to get those numbers up. Water storage, I'm not even going to entertain expanding until we have everything else taken care of. But it's going to be something that we really, 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 really need to emphasize as soon as everything else is taken care of. I guess this is also probably a good time to bring up, in the comments of the last video, a lot of you guys have done math and discovered something that I also kind of figured out since the last episode, is that it's literally impossible. With the amount of water we have coming in, I really should not be talking while this is going triple speed, but it's literally going to be impossible for the map to generate enough water to permanently sustain 1,000 beavers. We've established that. There's nothing we can do to change it. But we don't give up here. So I think what's going to happen, if we're going to even have a chance to sniff the 1,000 beaver mark for a single cycle, is we're going to have to do the best we can well in advance of that to just stockpile an enormous quantity of water stored well in advance of when it's needed. Overpump, overstore, underuse, whatever we have to do so that we have, I think somebody said it was something to the effect of about 60,000 units of water to sustain 1,000 beavers throughout the a maximum length drought of 30 days. Maybe a little bit more than that. If we have at least that much stored prior to a 30-day drought, we can probably have an entire cycle with 1,000 beavers, and then I will consider that to be a victory, because we'll have sustained 1,000 beavers for a cycle, a season, or whatever you want to call it. Well, I guess technically seasons, there's 2 seasons in a cycle, because you have the temperate season and then a drought or a bad. Anyway, that, I think I'm going to have to modify the goal of the playthrough to be that. And hopefully you can, get on board with that. There's not really much else I can do. I can't go back in a time machine and say, oh, I want to have 500 beavers on Diorama, because, well, one, we already had that as a goal for a challenge that I kind of failed when we were in Series 10, just because the computer couldn't keep up with it. But I think we're going to be able to get it done. Anyway, enough yapping. We just have to actually focus on this, which is why I didn't have it on triple speed. We're still getting some other stuff taken care of. We do not have enough beavers in farmhouses to harvest all this stuff, so that third farmhouse is going to come in really, really handy. We do have these ready to go, so let's get a beaver in here to lumberjack away. This one isn't going to be doing anything anyway, so that doesn't matter. And now we have enough logs to come over here and unpause the beard wheel construction. Until that is built, I will pause the fermenters so we can actually, allocate... Wait, why do I have so many beavers who aren't working? Oh, because I paused the pumps. Okay. So maybe that isn't actually a problem. Let's put these guys in the hauling post. Let's get 2 of them in there. And I guess... Well, I probably don't need to have both lumberjacks going now, but there's not really much else we can do outside of that. So probably about time to go ahead... Not a ladder. We haven't unlocked that. Put the stairs in, and then go ahead and start planting some mangroves. I'm going to go ahead and just have that be the starting point. I don't know if they're going to be able to get all of these in, but definitely at least maybe around half. That's going to be good. Okay, we got a day and a half until those come back up. This one is set to prioritize planting, and it has nothing... Oh, it literally has nothing to do. Okay, well, while this is still irrigated... And it's not a bad tide, we do have a chance to grow additional crops up here. So I will put in some kohlrabis there and some more cassavas here. I know as soon as the bad tide comes back, these are all going to die, but it's currently irrigated, so it would be dumb not to use it. Just give these guys something more to do. In 8 days, we could have 2 cycles of kohlrabis grown and harvested, or we could have a cycle of cassava and a cycle of kohlrabi. My gut tells me the cassava is probably the better choice, so I will plant this as cassava. I figured this was going to be closer so they could do the kohlrabis first, but it is what it is. I'm going to leave that alone and move on here. This needs to be harvested. This is set to planting priority, but there's not really anything these guys can plant, so... Well, I guess they could plant over here, but I'm going to switch this over to harvest priority and get the rest of that taken care of. How are we looking here? 40 out of 50. All right. Well, I can put this on triple speed because we're not in the danger zone yet. We're approaching the danger zone, but we're not quite there yet. How are we looking here? Still harvesting. These bushes again will all be dead unless I research and build a fluid dump and then splash this area, which is it is something we could possibly do. And it would not be too terribly hard. It would just be maybe a little bit of a waste of some science early game. Oh, O'Reilly. Let's... Auto parts. Anyway, not a sponsor. Take this down to a single beaver providing 78 HP. These take 50 apiece, but 2 of them running at 78% efficiency is... Or not technically efficiency, whatever power input... is still going to be a good thing to have, and we do have some cassavas already harvested that need to be fermented, and these guys are going to be getting more. Lots and lots and lots and lots to keep considering, but we'll see. Oh, I got an extra beaver. Okay, now you can actually make enough power. That's going to be fine. Thirsty beavers get a drink. These guys harvest a couple more blueberries, and then, we can leave this alone for the next 6 days, and then remember to maybe splash this so they stay alive. Good, we're planting mangroves. That's working well. What's the range on this, actually? Oh, okay. Almost what I thought was going to be possible, so I'll just unmark those I'm going to unmark these two because if they are not marked for planting, then they can just spread naturally whenever they grow up. That's going to be fine. Looks like this one is the last piece remaining. After that one gets put in place, we're fermenting, or we're supposed to be, but they haven't really done whatever here. Alright, I told you to harvest. I'm going to prioritize cassava. That just makes the most sense. These guys don't have anything else to do until this stuff grows, so I guess that's... Why do I have a lumberjack flag here still? That can go away. That can go away. Plant me one more piece of cassava here. Alright, so that's working. That goes there. Got these guys. If I had one more beaver, then I could start doing smelting stuff. And then just pause some of these, but got to keep ahead on this. We're going to be in some deep stuff. Cannot, and I mean cannot emphasize to you just how bad things are going to get if we don't start getting these numbers up more. But I got 53 logs. We have maybe half of these trees left. These are going to continue growing and be cuttable, but not for several days. Wow, yeah, some of these definitely not. So I think, given that, it is probably not a bad idea for us to go ahead and start making some metal so we can get ahead of our sluices here. But it might, depending on how we feel, it might actually make more sense to go ahead and start trying to build a reservoir here. Because we're really, really going to need to have a lot of water storage, or we're going to be sunk. And I guess pun intended. But the droughts are only going to get longer from here. I mean, they might vary a little bit, but we can go up to 30 days. We cannot, in this configuration right now, realistically survive longer than maybe a 15-day drought if everything is perfect and our storage is full at the start. So, you got to have more. You got to have more. We can either do it up here, we can do it down here. Probably going to be easier to do it down here just with how this is set up. So, give ourselves a fighting chance again. Put another thing of stairs here. We're going to get these 3 trees removed, and then obviously we can put in levee up here. That'll completely encapsulate this on this side, obviously assuming this piece is put back. And then on this side, we'll need to have space for 6 CMS worth of water to flow off, which is going to be 3 sluice gates. So 3 there, 3 here. Obviously, the clean water would be going this way, the bad water would be going this way. But if they're shutting off at the correct time, then during a drought, we could shut all of them manually, and then have a 2-high water storage up here, which isn't a lot, but it's something that would help a lot. And then we could take advantage of this basin here to build it up either higher up this way to be in the same level as this, or we build something out down here. It's a little bit harder with these berry bushes, but if we really wanted to, we could just remove those, and it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. We can also send beavers up this way to build from below, and we have access, thanks to this slope here, to build this way. So here's what I'm thinking. Levees here, and then we'll come across this way, take advantage of our geography, which is, still going to be a lot. It's going to be several hundred pieces of wood. But if we can make it happen, that's going to store a not negligible amount of water for us to use during our droughts. Obviously, we still have plenty of work to do to improve stuff. Maybe be a little bit smarter with how we're working on things, but that is going to be what we have to be doing. Let's take advantage of the moment here to check the breeding pods. Okay, so this one's basically done. That one's at, we'll call that 2/3, that's at 1/3, that's at half. I'm going to pause this breeding pod. Get this on triple speed, if it wasn't already, I can't remember. I'm going to pause this one right here. This is going to be our emergency pod. Plus, we don't need the population to be much bigger than it is right now, because then that's going to be more mouths to feed and beavers to water, so on and so forth. So slow down the growth just a touch. Try to make it so we can realistically survive to fight another day. And now we have all of this, planted a bunch more, which is good. Nice access here to finish that when the time comes. Still some more trees to get rid of there. And if we're truly desperate for wood, we can always just, demolish buildings that aren't really that important. But I'm going to try not to make things too terrible. Another thing to consider is we probably need to put in some dams here so we don't have backflow from bad water coming around this way and killing all of these crops. That will happen, because the fresh water won't make it to here faster than the bad water will. But that is going to, you know, require logs that I don't necessarily want to spend right now, because the 3 of these would be 60 logs. 60 logs. And I can't just have it be, you know, 2 pieces of dam here because... Wait, no, I totally can. Unless it counts each dam as one 2.2 CMS limit thing. If it counts edges instead of dam pieces, you know, as a whole, then it's fine. But I'm not totally convinced that's how that's going to work. So it's probably going to be smarter for us to just put a dam here. That's probably what's going to make the most sense, even if it's more expensive. It does mean, unfortunately, that I'm going to have to demolish one of these fermenters, but it's not doing anything anyway, so... Oh, man, I don't want to use all of my wood all at once. But, hey, that's another 24 right there, so that's something. I think we might be okay. We might be fine. Plus, I got all the stuff that came down from this. This is already operating. Look, you know, we're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. There's not really any good way to avoid this being a problem. So, dams go there. That's fine. I will get a beaver in the smelter, even if it is slightly, you know, unoptimized power-wise. 157 out of 250 isn't the worst. I could put another beaver in here, get us to, you know, probably about 260 to something, maybe. I don't know. It just pulls them out of the inventors, and we already have a lot of science anyway, so that's probably fine. But we need to have smelters going so we can build sluices. But we're making good progress here. Okay, we got 5.8 days, 5.7, 5.5, 5.2, 6.2. Good. I just can't forget, because these will die, like right before the water comes back. These will die. We'll have to take care of that. I want to try and save those for future benefit. Food stuff's still maybe a little dicey, but we're gonna get through it. Gonna be fine. Just gotta let these guys do what they gotta do. We do need to keep planting. We can't just ignore that forever. These are marked for cutting, right? Okay, good. They just have to be able to do that stuff. So that progress is going there. Okay, that's taken care of. Except that piece right there. Let's go ahead, because I know how this is going to work. I'm going to forget, and bad things are going to happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Got 11 of those. That's 88. I'll be able to build probably the rest of these things here. I'm going to go ahead and unlock the sluices, even though we don't have metal. I can go ahead and put the planks in. We know that's going to be a thing. Oh, I can't put sluices here. Of course, it's the edge of the map. Okay. Well, what we'd have to do in that case is either use dams, which may cause undesirable overflow issues unless we have a bunch of them. Or I can put in some platforms here and put sluices on top of the platforms. That's going to give us 3 smaller by surface area in terms of blocks of water storage, but would allow us to go all the way up versus having the entire thing only be at like a 1.6667 whatever height. That's probably worth it, honestly. But again, we still have some time. Still have some time before this becomes a huge problem. So we'll just let them do what they gotta do. Obviously, we can just have that going there. Make sure we go ahead and set this, or we will be very sorry. 1% contamination. Turn that setting off. And there you go. So it's badtide proofed. It'll just, you know, take a little bit of time. I know we still have to put this piece back in, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm deliberately being extremely cautious here. I do not want to wipe on episode... What episode is this? Episode 4? That would be incredibly and unbearably shameful. I've done it before. Only twice, but I'd like to try and, you know, not do that as much as possible. Alright, so they're working on that. We do still have about a 40% of a height there. That's fine. Down to 178 water. Goods statistics says we have 3 days to depletion of our drinking water supply. I guess that is okay. Could be better. Could definitely be worse. 4 days left here. Continuing to work on all this stuff. The planks haven't made it up yet. I guess that is fine. Making metal, though. They can only store 13 metal blocks, so I'm going to build a pile here. Just so we can have more of that. About as best as we can do. That's coming up. That's getting there. That's just launched a new beaver. It's not software, it's whatever. Okay, so this is now ready here. I don't know why I just instinctively pause all the stinking time, but that will go away. I think it's a fear response more than anything else. What door orientation? Okay, obviously that. That's going to be better. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put paths in place. Because I think if I've mathed correctly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maximum build limit from a path will allow me, I think, maybe, to put in levees here. If not, I can put them here and then I can just kill this one blueberry. So I'm not going to feel bad about that. That's going to be fine. I'm just trying to think. The amount of wood that we have right now is not necessarily enough to make this work. But we'll see. We'll see. We did finish this, which is good. I can put another one of these fermenters in place, but there's no reason to because we won't have enough cassavas to do anything. The third farmhouse is definitely going to help with that, but that has to be built. Let's make that priority number 1. Get that taken care of. I guess I could speed through this a little bit. Remember, I'm trying to min-max my water storage versus irrigation thing here, so we have the fewest possible amount of actual bad problems. Never a guarantee that those won't happen, but you can try to minimize stuff. Finish this thing. Come on, come on. Let's get some beavers in here. Get our food storage up. All right. So that's done. Now I have more beavers here. These are set to plant. These are set to harvest. They are now probably permanently set to harvest. They can handle most of these things. This will plant here. This will plant here and also harvest some of the other stuff. I actually didn't think this guy would reach all the way over here. All right. Well, cassavas it is. This may end up being part of the reservoir. Actually, you know what? You know what? No. No. I'm going to leave that open just in case it ends up being part of the reservoir and I don't want to have to deal with the nonsense getting rid of plants. So, how are we looking here? 31% of the way. We could also just straight up cut these down for wood instead of waiting for mangrove fruits, but I think it's nice to have insurance on some food. We're generating 236 out of 250 HP. Could definitely be a whole lot worse. I am cautiously optimistic about this. We've got 2 days until that's gone. We're going to have to pump sooner rather than later, but if we wait until we have 2 days left to pump water out, which we can't afford to, but if we wait 2 days, then no matter what, the kohlrabis, which have a drought resistance of 2 days, could possibly survive, and the cassavas would most likely survive. I think that's good. Go ahead and get this gather flag put back in place because we're going to need to be able to get these berries. How are we looking here? 2.7 days. All right. We do have the science to unlock the fluid dump. I have, as of now, enough planks, but I know they're being used, so I'm going to have to turn those back on. They're getting this taken care of. Yeah, you know what? I think the best course of action is just going to be to put sluices on top of platforms here and just try to, keep building the height of this if we can at all do so. I don't think I'm going to be able to do too much more, but I have access to all sides here to keep going up. It's the amount of wood involved, and I definitely think it's better to have a reservoir down here versus this being taller. This will be easier to let stuff out. Just still kind of worried about the food, but we've done basically all we can do without really super worrying about everything. So let's just power through this evening, and I guess I can turn one pump on, try to keep our water from completely disappearing, and then see what else we can make happen tomorrow. I'm sorry this episode is a little slower pace-wise, but I really don't want to make any stupid mistakes or oversights that are going to end the series early, because then nobody has any fun with that. Alright, so we're down to 46 water. How are we looking? Okay, so we still have like a third of the height left. Okay, maybe a little bit less than that, 25%. 3.9 days. Kohlrabies would die, but the beavers staying alive is most important. So I'm going to turn a single water pump on. Keep in mind, just because this says 2 doesn't mean we're out of beavers. We have 5 of these inventors that are kind of our slack, so to speak, in terms of... I wish I could turn building sounds off. This is our slack in terms of having workforce available. So we have 3 more beavers we can assign somewhere before we start having any real problems. We have science we're probably not in a position to use anyway. Still some trees here to cut down. These, not so much. We're still waiting, so I'm going to have to be a little bit more conservative about my my wood usage. I guess I probably should have built stairs and stairs here. This is only like, what, 15 logs, but could make a difference. Could definitely make a difference. Kohlrabies once again being kohlrabied over there. See, I feel like I'm going to have to start building something down here, or I'm going to regret it. So, if I put in levees here, 3 of those there. First of all, can they reach them? They can. Okay. Can they reach this? They can. I'm going to have to do that, and then I can either get rid of these 3 berry bushes, which are going to be another 5-6 days. These are already dead, so that doesn't matter. If I get rid of these 3, I can have this go straight across this way. It's going to be the simplest way to build it. And it's actually going to start being a pretty hefty amount of water stored. Keep in mind, it's 1 levee for 12 logs, or 12 logs to 1 levee. If we were going to fully realize what I'm trying to do here, this would be 1, this would be 2, so this would be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. And then we don't have to build anything down here. I would just get rid of these 2 bushes. Remember, we're at 13 here. This would be 15, 17. This one would be 19. And then we'd have to go across this way, which would be 3 high or floodgates, which consume an enormous quantity of materials. So let's just assume that's not what we're going to do to start out with if we don't have all of the logs available. So 3 high here, this would be 36, 36, 36, which almost... It's so much more. So much more than we would have put to that point. And then I'd put 2 high here, 2 high here, and then I'd take these 2 cassavas out, which I can already unplant them. And then 1 there, plus more here. So we could conceivably, by the time we would need it, have that many logs via, taking up these trees that are about to grow. And we could be okay. I think that's going to be the best option. But it might be cutting it pretty close. We'll see. We'll see. So now that I've told you my evil plan to, keep the beavers alive, gonna have to do our best to make it happen. And none of it matters if they all die before we get to that point. So we don't need to be sacrificing too much else now. Just got to get the water to last, and most importantly, we cannot allow the beavers to get into the hunger or thirst modes at the same time, because then their well-being just absolutely plummets, and then they work slower, which means they're not going to pump as fast or farm as fast or do anything as fast. And that ends up being very undesirable for everyone involved. The good news, though, is that this is essentially complete. We don't have to have something up here. This would be the last bit I would build, but it is functional for the purpose of diverting a bad tide should we have another one come in. Take this out of triple speed, because I get the feeling this is about to disappear. 2.7 days. Again, the kohlrabies last 2 days. They're going to die. We probably should just accept that if this goes away. But I'm more interested in us having the beavers actually survive and not be thirsty, so I think this might be the last day in operation for our pumps here. If I speed it up, I guess it doesn't really matter. Kohlrabi should not be driving the boat anyway, and the cassavas have a drought resistance of 3 days. So, you know what, YOLO. Everybody pump. Get in here. Abandon your post at the science building and just come suck up all the water before it's completely gone. Like, beavers will survive a couple of days without water. But you don't want to put them to that point because then the well-being just completely goes down, like I said, and it makes it very, 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 very hard to get absolutely anything accomplished, and, you know, everybody's miserable, and, yeah, you don't want that. But the water hasn't disappeared yet, and that is about the best we can hope for. Just continue getting all of these trees cut down. There's a couple of logs on the ground, and, oh, there's one tree here. Did I mark that? I did. Okay, they can still cut that. This is down to 1.9 days. Remember, I did say we're going to put in a fluid dump to save these berry bushes because we are absolutely going to need them. There is no chance we aren't. Darn't is not a word. Do I want to put that here? Or do I want to put that here? I guess here it has a chance of getting... Oh, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Fluid dump right there. It's going to be fine. No, do note there has to be fluid to dump for this to work. So let's get that going. I am going to have to turn on the lumber mill again just to keep making some more planks because, you know, we're going to need them. Okay, there goes our water. That's all she wrote, folks. 2.5 days left. There's no more for them to suck up, so those get paused. Now we have all these extra beavers back to do other stuff. They're already in here doing that. Alright, so that... Once this is completely gone... How's this not... Okay, there it goes. Browned. Yeah. So now it is obviously harvesting priority mode. Not that it really matters. I think they just default to it if they can't plant anything anyway. And we are on death watch for these blueberries. So let those guys do that. Wait, hold on. Hold on. I don't remember this setting being here. Was that added to the base game, or is this one of the mods I have installed? That might be from TImprove, actually. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm not going to look at the patch notes right now to figure that out, but that's neat. That's a feature that I wanted for a long time. Whether it is part of a mod or not. Because the fluid dumps for the longest time I didn't want to build because it was just going to turn into a thing where, okay, well, it's just an on-off switch when it gets completely full. So there's no nuance to it. That's good to see. Okay. I'm glad we put these dams in place because that is going to make it possible for us to keep this from being completely poisoned. These crops are going to be dead, most likely, or harvested, hopefully, by the time this bad water comes through, so we don't have to worry about it. Just want to make sure. I guess I can triple speed this. Want to make sure we're going to be in the best position possible. The really bad thing about this is now we know for sure we're not going to have any more trees grow until the temperate cycle, and I'm worried we might not have enough time to build what I think we need to build. Too far from a district center. Okay, so it's too far for them to demolish something, but it's not too far for them to... Okay, whatever. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say this berry bush can be sacrificed. I don't know why I'm on triple speed all the time. I feel like I have to make more progress than I do, I guess. Okay, now that's in range. Get that finished. At the very least, it's not going to matter if this is filled in if this is not filled in first. So that's probably what we should be focusing on. I have to remember what my routing was. I was going to do it. I was going to put that there, put that there. And that... Was this going to go here? I think it was. Okay, well I know I can do that. It's not like it's really going to matter, I guess, but... Yeah, that'll get harvested. At least we have some food. Water is definitely going to be... it's going to be a thing. We can just hope the... we can hope the beavers don't all get thirsty at the same time, because, like I said, it's going to be completely impossible. If that happens, we might as well just, you know, give up. It's not gonna go well. But we can go ahead and get at least this bit taken care of. At least that bit. Just do what we can do. This guy is ready to be done, so that can get paused. Now, all that work, and there's not a single drop of water to put through the fluid dump. That is regrettable. That is very regrettable. So, all of these blueberries are going to die. They will not survive. They will not be revived. This was a waste of materials and time. But I'm going to leave it here anyway, because it may prove useful to plant some more stuff up here, but you don't need to have somebody working there. So that's set. Well, you know, we have 146 blueberries. I guess it could be worse. Still working on getting the rest of this stuff taken care of. How close are we to getting more trees out of this? 90%? 90%. Okay, so within the first couple of days of our temperate cycle, we should be able to get some of these trees. You know, I'm feeling okay. What I'm not feeling okay about is the amount of beavers we have that are thirsty. We have 4 out of 30 total beavers. This is going to end poorly. But now I can at the very least put in another bit of levees. Although I probably shouldn't be worried about building this one yet, because I need to have this taken care of. I also have to decide what kind of a gate I'm going to have here, because it has to be 3 wide no matter what, because that's going to be water flow. If I put in triple floodgates, I have 515 science, so that's fine. I can research these. But this is going to be 90 logs and 45 planks to build triple floodgates all the way across. I don't think that's going to be viable. Double floodgates could work if we build them on top of a regular set of levees, but then underneath it would be kind of pointless to have just regular levees. We can put sluices at the bottom and then just have them only manually opened and then put double floodgates on top, but that's not really going to save that much in materials, and I also only have 5 metal blocks anyway, and I was going to put more sluices up here if I had the time and resources. So I think probably what's going to happen is we're just going to have to take our chances on how long of a temperate cycle we're going to get. That is very unfortunate. We did our best, though. That's what matters. We tried. We tried so hard, and in the end, it didn't even matter. But yeah, we're just going to have to deal with it. Just going to have to deal with it. We have 1.4 days, 1.3 days now until we have water coming back, and we can make do with what we have. Just going to be a thing. At least we have food. The food, if the food gets really low and you have no water, it's over. It's absolutely not going to be a viable thing. Got to get that blueberry out of the way. 1 day left. 1 day left. You see the well-being has plummeted because beavers are thirsty, but the water is going to come back real quick, and we'll be able to pump. We will be okay because we still have food. How are we looking here? 0.3 days. Yeah, 1.2. Let's prioritize harvesting the kohlrabies. Are there any in here that are even harvestable? No. Okay, well, that solves that problem. But these guys can definitely... Wait, these aren't harvestable either. What am I doing? No. No, that's fine. Alright, I've got 55 logs. This one's got to go here. This one's got to go here. I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling better about this. I'd feel a whole lot better if we could have this tall, but we're not going to have that many logs until, well, the water comes back. Now, all of the beavers except 2 are thirsty. How thirsty are they? Okay, we're not at death stage yet, but it's going to get there sooner than we want to unless we're very careful. We're going to have to immediately, as soon as water comes back over here, we're going to have to immediately get beavers back into it. Some of the cassavas might actually survive. That's promising. But here we go. 0.1 days on cycle 6. I'm going to get into cycle 7. Hopefully, quickly, and very quickly, getting water to come back in here. Alright, so got that coming this way. Take this off at triple speed. Why are you saying there's nothing to harvest? Because there is nothing. Okay, good. Go do something else, like working in the water pumps. Alright, so now they should already be staffed. We're going to have water coming back in here. Turn this back on so we can actually see. Very good. And we do have part of the first part of our reservoir. Good to go. See, this is exactly why I built this. This is exactly why, because this was going to kill all of these trees, which are already halfway grown, by the way. Except now, it hasn't. We've saved everything. By the skin of our teeth, and I mean it. Look at that. Look at that. They're all thirsty. But we have food, and all of the beavers are pumping, who are supposed to be pumping. And we have our emergency breeding pod if we need it. These guys are, you know, still doing what they're going to be doing, but that's the way she goes. And our berry storage is full. That is a huge accomplishment. I know it doesn't seem like much having 199 berries, but we're going to be glad we have them if these don't catch up quickly enough. And these trees are growing again. This is going to continue filling up until it spills, which will then also have to come through here. But man, I'm feeling really good. Comparatively to how I felt, during the last part of that drought about, this might actually be the end of the playthrough here, and nobody's going to be happy with that. But now things are going to catch up slowly but surely. We'll be able to take care of a whole lot of stuff, and boy, does that feel good. So, the likelihood of us having only a 5-day temperate cycle is, it's pretty low. But it's not impossible, so we do need to kind of plan around that. These trees are going to take another 4 days, 3 to 4 days, to actually have any serviceable quantity of wood coming out. So, I think, based on how much we're going to get from those, I think I'm going to go ahead and commit to the triple high floodgates. We have 44 planks. That's fine. We can go ahead and start building these guys. I'm going to shut this off. Now, for all the talking I said about we have to have additional storage for water, well, if we store more water here, then we can have more water here. But if we have preparations for water to be stored but no way to actually retain the water for it to be pumped, then it doesn't matter. Putting the cart before the horse. So, get the remaining logs out of here, get them working on this, which is going to allow us to come over here and continue putting these pieces up. But before we start building on this side, I do want to start building on this side. Reason being, if the water is high enough to require these to be here, and these aren't here, then the only thing that's going to happen is that water is going to flood the crops and then go into our river area. If these are here and these aren't here, it's going to go off the edge of the map. Should be pretty straightforward there. Again, food's looking okay. Water is going to be fine once this is all set, ready to go. This will also help keep things irrigated a little bit longer. So that should be fine. We do still have some cassavas ready to be processed. I can turn the beard wheel off, and that's going to allow us to get everybody back in the jobs they want to be in. We have haulers, which is good. Science, I'm not really concerned about them doing any more of that. I'm going to start turning some of these planks, depending on... Okay, they haven't put any in here yet. Okay, so maybe I will wait, because I do need to have 45 so they can build all 3 of these floodgates. Do I need to have a reason to get... No, I don't. I don't need to have a reason to get back there, so I'll just go ahead and put in, not that one, the 3rd floodgate. That'll be fine. This will need to be the first priority, getting these constructed, so that will be very high. Trees are growing, thankfully, that's good. Let's just get this stuff done, folks. Finally recovering our water here. We've got stuff looking good. Looking real good. I'm going to go ahead now and also put this other fermenter back in. I did remove it so that they could build this, but that's going to be a lower priority building because I do want them to build the floodgates. Probably also going to have this path here so they can actually build the middle ones. Alright. End of day 2. Things are looking up. 17 days to fill this in our current pumping rate, but that will improve. And if we can store any amount of water in here, then we're going to be in a lot better shape going into whatever this next season is. If it's a drought or a bad tide, I would personally prefer... Actually, you know what? Probably would prefer a bad tide, honestly, because then this will keep going, and we can have all of our industry stuff still working. Alright, we haven't gotten the whammy yet, so we have at least day 4, 5, and 6 to accumulate more wood and more water and to get more stuff built, so that feels good. Again, all of our logs are going to the floodgates. That's just the way it is. Gotta have those period point blank. These trees should be growing up today or tomorrow. We might see 1 or 2. That's looking okay. We really need to be planting more, but I don't really have any great spots to do that short of these mangroves. I might just cut this first batch of mangroves down to try and, you know, guarantee that we get at least something out of them, rather than waiting another 10 days to get, what, 40 pieces of food, 50 pieces of food. Yeah, that's probably going to be a better way to do it. And also we have these lumberjacks right here, and they'll just replant them. That's not a big deal. It would be nice for them to start spawning this way, though, so, you know, we don't have to keep waiting for stuff to get replanted. So we have at least days 5, 6, and 7 now to get the rest of this done. Looking good, looking good. Are they getting the planks in? They are. I need 1 more plank. Let's unpause that. Start the process. Oh, we got our oaks coming in. Perfect, perfect, perfect. We're going to be good. We're going to be so good. As the kids say, we're so back. It was almost so over, but it is now so back. And with that, all of the millennials are screaming and writhing in pain. I guess that's probably enough planks right now. Let's just turn that back off. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I'm going to have this set down to 0.8 so we don't have any weird flooding problems once the rest of these... Yeah, actually, going to be lower than that. 0.5 so we don't have any problems when this gets back up here. This is just waiting on logs, and logs we already have all the planks. Reminder that this will get built first, and then we can continue increasing. Okay, there it is. So, we have days 5, 6, and 7 to get the rest of this done. I'm going to take this back out at triple speed again. I think the amount of logs we're about to have, assuming... Okay, we do still have a couple of these oaks left. That's good. That's good. The amount of logs we're about to have is going to make it possible for us to have this bit done. Since it is a drought and not a bad tide, this might be controversial, but I think given what we're going to have to deal with here, I think it's going to be better for us to take these levees out here and use them to build up our reservoir down here. It's going to hold more water overall, and we're obviously going to be able to keep these trees growing. Plus we have this fluid dump to micro-irrigate to keep some stuff alive up here. I don't know that I want to put a tree farm up on top of this mountain because, obviously, that is going to cause problems when things die because of bad tides. So, seeing the situation we were in, I'm just going to go ahead and say, you know what? Come and get your logs. Get your logs. Build your levees. And that is what we are going to be spending our resources on. You can always put those back again when the time comes. So this will allow this to get built. These do have to get built sequentially unless we put in a staircase, which I will go ahead and do. Have that prioritized. Just let them build all that at once. Looks like this is probably still going to be fine to build up on a diagonal. If not, we'll have to put a staircase in. That's not going to be a big deal. All of the logs up here, once they get collected, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's going to be almost 100 logs. Almost 100. And these are only... wait, hold on. No, am I going to get... No, I wouldn't get a log back from that. No, it is what it is. That's fine. If I demolished an inventor, how many logs would I get? 9. Okay. We can make it work. We might be... Yeah, we might actually be okay. Might be okay. Okay, metal-wise, drought's going to mean we have to use the beard wheel. And we don't have any... Oh, we're out of scrap metal. Okay, well, yeah, what the heck. Beaver's not working. We'll just turn on the scavenger flag. We might as well just keep using this while we can. So these are built. That was the huge, big-ticket thing that we were really, really focused about. I need to have this, and this built on this side. And then all of these cross like so. So that from this moment is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We do not have that many. Do not have that many logs. 240 logs. Will we have 240 logs when we get this? This is another 100, so we have 120. More or less. We have this. We will have, within the next day or two, a little bit. I think we can do it. And it is going to require that I pause building that, and we might have to demolish a couple of these inventors. But I think it's going to be possible. Wow, okay, this episode's already almost an hour. Oh boy. Nothing like a little bit of crisis management to get your brain working on a... What day is it? Wednesday? Well, technically it's Tuesday evening right now. I'm recording this. But if you're not a Beard Booster, you're watching this on Wednesday. If you are a Beard Booster, thank you for supporting the channel. You're watching this on Tuesday night or possibly very early Wednesday morning, depending on your time zone. Things are looking good, folks. Looking real good. We do need to have some more water storage, but would much rather have this. Now, are they going to get this done in 1.9 days? No, they're not. But they can do their best. That's all they can do. I guess I could have a builder's hut built if I really, really wanted to use all the rest of my logs, but I don't think that trade-off is worth it at this time. Should be okay. I don't have log storage over here. That's a problem. Where's my closest log storage? I say as I have a day and a half. Oh, yikes. Well, yeah. At this point, it is what it is. They're going up here to grab all of this. They haven't even picked these up. They haven't even picked those up at all. Haulers won't pick it up. The builders have to do it, and then they're just going to take it to whatever's marked for whatever. Well, at the very least, I can start retaining more water here. We know that's a thing. We know that's a thing. That's fine. Didn't want to miss out on that. And this in and of itself is still a pretty nice achievement to have this ready to go. The water storage that we do have is effectively full, just about. So, that's good. I unfortunately do not have the planks or the gears to build another one of these medium tanks, and I don't want to use any more of the logs to build small tanks. So, that's going to be what it's going to be. But if by some chance, okay, are you okay? You're this guy. If by some chance we can actually get the rest of these popped in, we might be okay. I'm gonna do 20-hour work days. Okay, haulers are going to do what haulers are going to do. This is not closer, really, than this, so I guess I just have to have this be obtain. I guess that's fine. I don't have any other storages for that. At least they can put it closer to what's getting built. I guess I can feel fine about that. I really should have replaced these with floodgates, but I didn't. Well, no sense worrying about it. Gotta do what you gotta do. And we do still have this, and I can pause the sluices. I can close these, and it's going to retain a tiny bit of water here. Not a lot, but possibly enough. Got one full day left. These guys are doing their best. Very, very, very circuitous routing here. Remember, none of this matters to be built at all until this is done. That's priority number one. We can always just have this keep filling up this area. Let's go up to 1.8 here. Try to get this as full as we can without too much spilling. It's obviously going to be surging a little bit because triple speed does weird stuff to water physics. Okay. Might be a little late for this, but I really should have cut these down earlier. Sorry about you, mangroves, but, you know, we have to do what we have to do. We have no other choice. And since this is a drought, we don't have to worry quite so much about bad tide stuff coming in, but it's gonna be rough. Gonna be rough here. We can keep building this during the drought. It's not gonna be a big deal. I am very curious how long it's gonna be, though. And it's definitely gonna be something we have to tackle next episode. we're not going to end before we find out. All right, 0.3 days. We're definitely not getting this done. I don't know why. I don't know why they aren't building these simultaneously. I thought they were going to do that if I had the stairs in place. Well, it is what it is. Kind of missed the boat on that. I'm going to desynchronize these just because I want to be able to more organically control how much gets stored here. Let's put this all the way up to 2.0. Not really much else we can do about that. Unfortunately, I really wanted that to be finished, but again, what are you going to do? Okay, so I ended up not storing hardly any. 10 days. 10 days. We can definitely survive 10 days. We already have enough water stored for 10 days. That makes me feel a whole lot better. Let's just synchronize these back again so we don't have to worry about it. And then once this goes down enough, I will open this and we'll just have all the water stored in here. Definitely could have been a whole lot worse. I'm not going to make myself feel bad about it. But we do still have to have all this stuff taken care of. I'm going to have that fermenter ready to go. Prioritize that slightly. Unpause the beard wheel. Get these guys in. And I guess now deprioritize all of this construction. Again, don't need to feel bad about it. We did our best. This is too far, so it needs to have a staircase anyway. That's fine. I had the feeling that was probably going to be the case. So eventually staircase will solve that problem. That can also be deprioritized. So before we say goodbye today, let's very, very quickly debrief. We're in a good spot with water. We're in an okay spot with food. It is going to get better. It just is a very, very slow process. We have our 34 beavers. We probably need to build another housing. I'm glad I paused this other breeding pod because that was going to be absolute chaos if we had 40 or 50 beavers instead of 34. It would be a whole lot harder to keep these guys alive. So, new barracks is also going to have a platform there. We'll just get that situated. Now that we don't have to worry quite so much about how much wood we have going on. This also, this isn't going to be around long enough for us to plant any trees up here, but we probably maybe could here because we have the fluid dump. They're not going to grow, so it's probably not worth doing right now anyway, but just to keep that in mind for the future. Other stuff you guys asked about in the comments that I haven't gotten to. I think we pretty much covered everything that I wanted to address, so I guess that's fine. Yeah, okay. Then that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do then. We'll just leave the rest until the next episode, which I think currently I would be expecting to see either Saturday or Sunday. I'm not entirely sure because we have water beavers to get back to. We have the Folktales playthrough that still is not finished, and I don't want to take that way too much. But I already have, this is the Wednesday video. Thursday I have tentatively another Folktales video, Friday another water beavers, so I guess it would be, earliest I could do this would be Saturday. Probably would make the most sense to do it then. Not to have the fun, new, exciting series be the one that gets shoved around too much, but I do still want to give the proper attention to the ones we're still working on. Anyway, so I guess you can expect to see a video on this series again Saturday, but please do go check out the other ones. We're having a good time with those. I'm very glad you choose to watch these videos. It is so much fun to get to play the game and solve the challenges and have all the different input from everybody. So I really appreciate you being here. Beard Boosters, you already know, but for those of you who don't, they are the supporters of the channel who make it possible financially for me to continue doing this stuff to the degree that I do every single day. And most importantly, keep sponsors nobody wants off the channel. I don't want to sell you healthcare or frozen food or whatever, and all that stuff's probably fine, but I don't want to sell it to you while we're playing games. I just want to have a fun time with the beavers and enjoy the community that we're cultivating together. So really appreciate those folks. And like I said, I appreciate you too, even if you're not on that. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.